right, everybody. I am Andrew Badal. That is Drew Springsteen. That is Jordan. We are live for episode 1. The pilot was last week of No Dirt, Just Dialogue. Listen, very accepting and very sound reception for last week, which I appreciate. This is kind of our new trio. This is what we're going to do week after week. So we appreciate the love, the feedback, and the support. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow. Hit that notification so when we go live, you will know. We schedule a show. You will know live here exclusively on Final Bell Media. J&J. Jordan and Juice, how we boys doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Could be a little bit better, but we're getting there.
There you go.
Little J&J security, huh?
There you go.
Little throwback to that.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, we're going to protect his bald head.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got the 6. No worries.
All right, boys. Interesting week. We are a couple days out from Saturday night's main event, which we will preview in detail here today on the show. Again, No Dirt, Just Dialogue. Some things that we've seen, some tea leaves that we're reading in terms of WBD, some AEW news and notes from last night's Dynamite, which I have a lot of. I thought the show was very well done. We'll also talk about some of the things we've seen in regards to Copeland and some other things, which I'll talk about at the end. A lot of people are speculating that Adam Copeland could be headed elsewhere. I'll be here to squash that rumor. It's just not going to happen. So you can keep fantasy booking your John Cena last opponent. It will not be Adam Copeland. I don't know why we're still talking about this, but I'll talk about why later on. Let's just go where we need to go. Juice, where do you want to start off with, buddy?
Well, Adam Copeland won't be wrestling John Cena, but maybe Edge will be wrestling John Cena. You didn't really put that out there, so you never know. Drew, you brought it up, so let's kick things off with the any update on the WBD sale of it all, where people are worried. AEW, what's happening?
Again, look, listen. Comcast, people are talking about Amazon, don't see it. Paramount and Comcast, it seems to me it's a 2-horse race. I believe Comcast is going to be a serious bidder, but I do believe it'll end up with Paramount. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I do believe WBD is going to be sold. It's not a matter of if, it's when. What does that mean for AEW, right? Because this is a professional wrestling and sports entertainment show. There are obviously some things that are going to happen, but is AEW going to fold? No. Could AEW find a new broadcast partner if they needed to? Sure. Don't know the details of their media rights deal. It's never really been made public besides the years and the reported amount of what AEW and WBD are in business together with. WBD, is a publicly traded company. So I would assume that stuff is all public knowledge, but I've never seen it in terms of AEW and their media rights deal. Now, I believe it's a 3-year deal with a 4th-year option, and I believe it's for $180 million plus per year or something to that extent. Again, that's all reported by Sean Ross Sapp, who does good work. AEW is not going anywhere. That we could put to rest. Until Tony Khan and AEW don't want to have a show or do business, they'll continue to do business. I fully believe that. So, and they've already invested a ton of money into it, and I think this is Tony's life outside of Fulham and the Jags, which, I think this is absolutely Tony's baby. I don't see it going anywhere. So wherever WBD ends up, I don't see this going on. Jordan, what's up?
Is it worrisome for where AEW might land as far as a TV partner, TV network?
No, we're in a different era, in my opinion. Like, the ratings are just something that are so passe, and we continue to talk about them. And people, not myself and not you two, but there's other people who want to hone in on it every single week and make it something. Like, I understand that there are some aspects to ratings and media rights that are something you should talk about. You need to obviously have marketing and advertising dollars, and if you're buying ad space, yeah, absolutely, those things matter. But for the common fan, this stuff doesn't matter. Whether you like a show, whether you don't, is what matters.
Well,
go ahead.
Grain the screen, is that like a marker for the common fan? Like, if the common fan, and I'm seeing that, well, year after year, maybe time after time, things are dwindling. So I'll ask you, when does it become a issue for a fan, or if does it at all? Like, put yourselves back in WCW 99 right, and you're a fan,
Just
right?
popped up.
When do you start to kind of like look and say, okay, the Titanic is sinking?
When people stop coming to shows, when people stop watching your shows, obviously something, when people stop buying your pay-per-views, everyone always is like, gates don't matter. They absolutely do. Without gates, you're not going to have people who want to buy your media rights. You're not going to have advertisers. You're not going to have this. You're not going to have that, because at the end of the day, if people aren't coming out to watch your product live and you're a live entertainment company, then you got an issue. Also, if you don't look good on TV with an empty house, people are going to be like, this product's obviously junk. Again, I think AEW could find numerous homes in terms of streaming partners. Now, do I believe there could be potential roadblocks when it comes to where they could go on, whether it's cable or whether it's Netflix or, Paramount Plus or whatever? Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's TKO and Endeavor's game right now. And they're smart to play that, because at the end of the day, everyone's so concerned about ratings or where Chris Jericho is going. And no offense, Chris Jericho, great professional wrestler, one of the legends, but that is not the war that AEW, quote unquote, and WWE are fighting, or TKO. What it is they're pinholing almost where AEW could be seen at, in terms of broad visibility. So,
to answer your question, Jordan, I would say first, I wouldn't look at the ratings as much as a huge indicator at this point of time in 2025. I'm trying to avoid social media for the sense of how many people are in the building, because you know how many people take photos, but when they walk in and wow, I can't believe
Oh
it's
my
empty.
God, look, yeah, I hate that. That.
So stuff like that. Just the fact that seeing shows get to a different building, just seeing AEW, let's talk about AEW. If they announce a show at this venue or this city and they just continuously are rolling, I don't think there's a problem. It's when they start to cut back on something, or if a show were to get canceled, or things of that nature. Or maybe in the future, what if AEW starts doing live events and not just televised stuff? That would be an indicator of maybe they're doing something and they're progressing and they have extra time and some talent and get some more money. Those things like that, I think, are where you could look and say things are going well. And on the flip side, well, I don't know, maybe it looks like only the hard cam side is good. Or like Drew brought up a couple weeks ago, at the end of Bound for Glory, when the fans were not there for the main event, when that was the big deal, you knew that the house wasn't there for the main event. And maybe that's an indicator of, well, the legacy acts work, but does TNA stars work necessarily? I don't know.
There's a lot of things you could take into the equation too, which Juice brought up, with social media, that a lot of people ignore. Like, people are just like, oh, this guy is good, that girl's good, I like this person. That's all good. That's sometimes, and that's an echo chamber. But what you need to look at is the metrics on social media. What star that you have on your roster, or stars, are getting impressions, views, all that other stuff. And that might dictate whether or not your promotion becomes successful, because they're polarizing. So that, the ratings, people consume content completely differently than they did back in the 90s and the early 2000s, and even 2020. 2020 changed a lot of consumer habits. So we'll see. I don't put that much stock into ratings.
Yeah, it's just a different time. Go ahead, Jordan.
No, they're people. Again, I watch Dynamite in two halves, right? I watch it live and I go back and watch it again, to kind of really digest. Do I count as two views or one? There's so many different caveats that go.
How are you watching it, Jordan?
Personally, I watch through Max. I think the Max stream is beautiful. I think it's crystal clear. And I love not having as many commercials. I'm a not commercial guy. I will pay for convenience,
Sure. But do you get the ads? You don't get any ads at all?
I still get some ads, but there are some times where you'll get this message like, oh, your programming will be right back.
I get that too. So basically it's peace commercial. There's just quietness.
So I'll get, I still get commercials, but not as many. And I love that personally. But again, do I count as 2 views. You know, because even on the if you watch the replay on Max, you still have adverts through the replay. So again, they're still getting their ad dollars there and whatnot, so on and so forth.
I think we're all learning too, Jordan. Like, I don't know truthfully how the new ways of Nielsen and everything else like that are working. And I think that's what happened in the 90s and the 2000s too. You know, it was all very much cut and dry, and now it's different. So we're all trying to figure it out. And for me to sit back or anybody else to try and sit back and tell you this is how they're doing it, the people who are trying to capture ratings right now don't even know.
Right. And I do want to add real quick, with the advent of seeing the engagement numbers on a platform like X, formerly Twitter, or the likes and dislikes on YouTube videos and stuff of that nature, you can really gauge how well something does. Or like I brought up, I think last week with Jey Uso winning the Battle Royal and it got a lot of dislikes, you can see where maybe certain fans will lean. And again, at least in that realm, a lot of engagement's better than no engagement. So if an AEW tweet pops off or a viral video happens, those can only be solid indicators. It's when you start seeing or a lot of just negativity that, okay, maybe we should turn things around and figure something else out.
Yeah. I mean, the package from last night where Hangman Page was revealed as quote unquote Tony Schiavone has done combined over 400 views on X and YouTube. So, I mean, that's something that obviously is being used and digested and viewed. So,
400,000, you mean?
Yeah. What did I say?
Okay. 400.
Yeah. 400,000. Yeah. 400 would be really low. 400,000. So yeah, I mean, that's something you want to take into the account. And again, Hangman Page, Samoa Joe, the main event, it's going to get good views. So
yeah. And I would be derelict of duty to not reference him as Pony Schiavone.
Pony Schiavone. Okay. Interesting.
That,
Didn't get that.
That was great segment. Great segment from last night.
Yeah, we'll touch on Dynamite in a little bit. Anything else on the WBD front, Drew, to where?
No, I mean, again, I think we're weeks, maybe months away from anything right now. The stock has jumped, not to bore people with financials, but that's something you always want to take a look at. The stock price is going to drive whether or not they have a sale. Mr. Zasloff has a, how do I put this the right way? He has a vested interest in seeing that stock price go all the way up. I'll leave it at that.
That's fair. That's a fair way to put it.
So
yeah.
Something else I'd like to touch on, especially, we'll talk with some AEW before we dive into some Dynamite and look ahead to Full Gear. The AEW Twitter put out a very fun commercial where, what was it? Hobbs and Orange Cassidy and others are in an an office building, and they did a little office commercial reminiscent of the This Is Sports Center ads and just the WWF Super Bowl commercial, stuff like that. I loved it, and I want to just get your guys' thoughts on it. I also love the new little tagline where wrestlers work, because there's like multiple meanings in there, especially if you're an inside fan and you know what working means and what have you. So just thoughts on that as a whole, because I really enjoyed it. And it's stuff like that, little stuff like that goes a long way, because it makes you unique and not just we just wrestle.
Yeah, I thought the Where Wrestlers Work tagline was great. I thought Hobbs smashing the computer is hysterical and then pulls out another one. Tekla walking backwards, doing the spider walk crawl, and Cassidy answering the phone. Everything just fit, right? So, and if you look at Hobbs' sheet, I think it says kill John Moxley, which is just funny. And again, anything that you could separate yourself from just the in-ring stuff. And we all understand that AEW's got some really, really good wrestlers, but there's more to professional wrestling. And I know this might sound crazy to some, but then professional wrestling, like, you need to appeal to the masses. And I think that commercial is all in good fun. And it's something that's different that will maybe captivate a new audience. And I dig it.
So a few things, right? As you guys know, I'm always constantly online, in a good way. I still touch grass, but I saw people not liking this, saying that it's unoriginal, You know, oh, they're only doing this because the people across the street are with ESPN, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. I refute with a few things. A, are you upset because AEW did something that WWE should have did the moment they linked up with ESPN?
Like a new version of it, you're saying?
Yeah. There's no reason why WWE shouldn't have done an advert like this.
And they referenced the old ones in the lead up to WrestlePalooza. So
they should have 100% done something like this. Two, are you upset of how well it came off? Because this came off not hokey, not campy or anything like that. This felt very funny and very genuine. And it left room for more wrestlers to do different bits.
Sure.
You know, and so to me, these are all net positives because, okay, yeah, no, first off, spoiler alert, there's no more original ideas. You know, so if you
that's
think
true
you got,
too, yeah.
If you think you've got one, I promise you someone.
First off, WWE stole that from so many other things back in the day with football players and baseball players. So, I mean, what's old is new.
Exactly. So if it works, it works. And if it works, then it'll probably work now. So kudos to them for, grabbing outside of the realm of wrestling and doing something. Because like you said, Andrew, like they need to get the broader eyes. Like if you ask me what is AEW's biggest issue, it's getting the non-casual wrestling fan, getting someone who's just going to flip it on, who maybe doesn't know, who they think The Rock is still wrestling, right? They need to get that person over. And how you do it is just like you said, Juice, small things matter that build up. Commercials and spots like this, where you can get people's faces and names a little bit more recognizable, because I guarantee you, a kid saw that and was like, who is Tekla? Who is this?
Sure.
One? Yep. Like what she can, who's Orange Cassidy?
Look at Hobbs, he's a monster, like that type of stuff.
Look, who is this guy, right? And notice, and that's another thing too, I wanted to point out in this commercial, look who they chose. They could have gone with your Hangman Pages, who's a little bit recognizable. They could have used John Moxley, who's recognizable. I'm pretty sure they could have called Cope and Christian and said, hey, can you do this advert spot? They could have used the recognizable faces, but they chose to say, no. We're going to use these
and I like that.
people. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea to have that.
I think so, because they're going to, now you're wondering who Will Hobbs is. Now you're wondering who Orange Cassidy is. You're wondering who Willow is. You're wondering who Thekla is. Like, I think this advert was a genius thing by Tony Khan and crew. And I hope
it did hundreds of thousands of views. So obviously they did something right, I
hope to see more of it. I hope to see a version 2, version 3. You know what I'm saying? I want to see one with Tony Khan in it. You know what I mean?
Very possible.
I think this should be a new thing for them.
It's good marketing. It really is. It's putting different eyeballs on your product, and like you said, somebody catches that and they're like, what is this? I would air that commercial, truthfully, I hope they air it on TBS and TNT during NBA games, whatever. I'd buy the ad space if you can. I would even maybe air it on competitions platforms.
I would, if I were Tony, I would air that commercial at the next home Jaguars game.
Well, what I'm saying, and yeah, great idea. Any type of stuff is like that type of stuff is great. But if you could listen, you have some people who don't watch professional wrestling, watching an NBA game, watching an NHL game, watching a college football, whatever, and bang, that pops up. People are gonna be like, all right, that was funny. Who is that? What is this? Who's this woman walking on all floors? Who's the guy smashing the laptop? If you can't laugh at yourself and you can't have fun with your product and everything else like that, then you're in the wrong business.
Yeah, and I like that they didn't use the obvious WWE former talent, because people would have had a lot to hinge their argument based off of, well, of course they only did this with Cope and Christian. But like you said, Jordan, there's plenty of room to do a second, third commercial with one of those guys. And then it's like, wow, you watched this first one, you really enjoyed it. Now you see the same office, but you get, what's Adam Copeland doing is, he could be the older guy, and they could. There's so much that they could play
There's
around
so
with,
much
and it'd be a lot more fun to do.
They could play off of certain gimmicks, like they could play off like, "Hey, didn't you used to work in Connecticut?"
I transferred here from Connecticut. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you could have Cope coming in, a new transfer from Connecticut. That would be hilarious.
That'd be fun.
I would love to see. What I would really love to see is something with Mark Briscoe.
Oh yeah, he's that's an obvious. That's a layup to put in one of these spots.
That's
for sure. Like in an office setting.
Yeah, him in an office setting. I think it would just be gold. Again, this is just a genius advert. And this is something that we've touched on last week, and it's how AEW needs to grow. And I think it's something we'll continue to talk about as their young company. And I think this is one of the great things. They really hit on this. And again, I would love to see more of it. I think it's a great, great advert. What you said, hundreds of thousands of views already. So I wonder how much more engagement, how many clicks that led to, who is Will Hobbs? I wonder how much, that was typed in, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was very interesting, and I'm looking forward to some more of that. Back to just AEW as a whole, Dynamite last night. Drew, you said you had quite a few news and notes from that show, at least some opinions on your end. Yeah. I enjoyed the show for the most part. I really enjoyed any themed show. I like when whatever company it is goes, lack of a better term, all in. And AEW does that to a T, where Danielson's dressed as Hechicero and Tony Schiavone's doing his Halloween Havoc 90 bit, and they played up the Marshmallow Man thing again. I love all of that. And for that part, I really enjoyed. Leading up to Full Gear, we talked about it before. How many times are we going to see these certain matches? And we're going to see another one with Joe and Hangman. So, Drew and Jordan, just let me know your thoughts on Dynamite as a whole. Bring up some certain topics, and we'll bounce off of that.
Go ahead, Jordan.
So, AEW is a very clever company. And when I say clever, they do callbacks and nostalgia in a very unique way, right? They this obviously they take advantage of their themed Halloween shows, and so if you've watched any other Dynamite, pre-Halloween, you got a lot of callbacks here. So the show itself it was very fun. Just to start off, the show was just if you were an avid AEW watcher, this was a fun show. It did move and progress things towards Full Gear a little bit. I wanted a little bit more personally as far as what we're getting towards Full Gear. I think, Juice, you mentioned kind of like the women's blood and guts situation and whatnot. I kind of wanted a little bit more, this week out of, getting towards that, but slow burn. The matches were really good. Obviously the Hangman, that gimmick at the end, that whole spot, very well done. I want to point out, you can only pull off that spot with a great production crew, with camera work, you know what I'm saying? And also a good crowd to not give it away. Right? They didn't start, getting super, super loud, because we all knew, if you're watching, you're knowing, okay, Hangman's coming. You didn't think, and I guarantee y'all too, y'all didn't think that that's the way Hangman was going to show up. So the crowd did their part.
No, I didn't. I will say, but I did hear, like, when Tony started talking again, it did sound like he's not there. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like a live mic. It could have been a live mic, but just not in the arena. Could have been in the back. I'm like, I don't know about that. But you're right. They kind of panned out, and you saw a great moment with Hangman being back there.
Yeah. My only kind of it was a little slow. The moving parts, you can tell, because there was times where Joe and Hobbs and Shibata were kind of in the ring. They were kind of stammering a little bit. But that's fine, for the result that we got. Because again, they are clever. They showed you Tony in his costume like an hour before. You know what I'm saying? So you
Yeah.
you saw Tony.
And he started in the ring with them. He did start in the ring with them.
And you're thinking this is Tony. Oh, this is just a callback to Tony's old Halloween Havoc. What year was that? Juice, you know that
1990.
Yeah, 90. You're right. I know. that I think you're thinking that was a callback to that. And no, this was kind of a whole ploy to the end of the show. I thought it was great. I do feel a particular way about Bobby Lashley's spot in it. I'm just gonna say it. Never taking the loss. Never.
I think that's done by design, but go ahead and finish your.
It is done by design. But this goes back to something we talked about last week. Is we're still getting Ricochet in Hurt Syndicate. Like we're still doing this, right? And it's fine. It's cool. I get it. Bobby he's getting there. We're almost to the title picture with him, but like, okay, when I saw Hook was thrown in there, I was like, well, I know who's taking the loss. So, and that was my only gripe. But other than that, again, great show, top to bottom, very fun show, good callbacks. If the Don Callis Family Summit was probably the peak of the show.
Really? Okay.
For me, yeah, because there's a lot of subtle things when you saw.
1900 WCW, eh? I know. It was 1990. I know.
Yeah,
technically not wrong. It is in the 1900s.
If you saw in the Don Callis Family Summit, there was no travel snafu with Takeshita. That was all Okada. That's why they pinned the camera to Okada, immediately.
Oh yeah, there's little things. AEW is very good at the slow burn and the little stories inside the stories.
If you notice Takeshita when he came out, even when he came out on the ramp, his eyes were on Okada the entire time. He did not take his eyes off Okada the entire time. The nameplates, like it's an actual summit, going to different people, again, highlight of the show for me personally.
Sure.
But good fun show overall. Again, if you like their theme shows, this is another one of those great theme shows. I hope to see more of them. I can't wait for Thanksgivings. That's typically a fun one too. But no, this is a good one. This was a good show.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the same thing online too. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, and AEW does a theme show. It's their best television." Honestly, I never took notice of that. I just think that this was a really good episode of Dynamite. I think it flowed well from top to bottom. Hook taking the loss. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's what Hook's in the match." Well, I think there's more to it than that. I mean, Hook got choked out by Joe, and Joe is now your number one contender for Hangman Page title again. Now, do I think we're going to see a regular one-on-one match? Lord, I hope not, because we just saw that at Wrestle Dream. So I do believe we will see some sort of stipulation match. You got to go back to a lot of things too with Hook. His involvement in this match. The promo, like you got to listen. You got to listen to what. It doesn't matter if it's AEW or WWE. When they give a character that type of airtime, pay attention. And I will say that what I got from that was Hook is saying, I will do whatever it takes to keep Samoa Joe away from the World Championship. I don't think we're done yet with Samoa Joe and Hook. I think they told a story within a story. Okay. That's just my thought. Ricochet and Bobby. Ricochet was flying around, doing a lot of the work. Hook, I think, shined in this match. 4 different styles. And I think Hook stood out, which is hard to do. Really hard to do in this match. And I think Hook did a fantastic job. I thought Ricochet did a fantastic. Everybody involved did their job, and I thought it was a really good main event match. And again, I don't think Bobby and Ricochet are done with each other just yet either. That's why I was very intrigued on how that match panned out, and we got it. FTR, that was interesting. Like I thought the Bucks, and then I was like, all right, FTR won, sweet. So it seems like we're probably on a collision course with FTR and Copeland and Christian. That involved the tag team championship, which I'm fine with. Maybe Copeland and Christian screw them. Obviously, they're not going to be in that match at Full Gear, but maybe World's End, them being Copeland and Christian. The Sisters of Sin, I thought that was a huge upset win. I'm happy it happened because I'm high on Julia Hart. I really am. So again, I thought that was well done. Darby and Mox, I want this to be done. I'm happy this is the men's blood and guts match.
You could click this from every week the last 2 months.
Right. But we need to put we need to put, this stuff aside, especially now with blood and guts. I don't know where you go after this, truthfully.
Well, if you notice what they're doing with the Death Riders is they're moving them down the card, right?
But Moxley fights every week.
Well, because he's still your top guy, right? I think AEW does this unique thing of having top guys on different spots of the card, and they do it very well. Like, Moxley doesn't have to be in the world title picture to still be a top guy.
Yeah, he's still a main event player without being in the main event.
And no doubt about it. And right now, AEW, no Swerve, no Ospreay, no MJF, no Copeland. He needs to be there. I get it. But sometimes less is more, at least for me. And AEW has done a very good job more recently of telling stories rather than just putting the best wrestler against the best wrestler, because that's great. But at the end of the day, if I can't invest myself, my time and my energy into either a storyline or a character, or make me want to watch a match or buy a pay-per-view, there's nothing there. I mean, this is no knock. If I want to watch sports, I'll watch sports. This is professional wrestling and sports entertainment. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills is enough to make me tune in, because it's just the best in the AFC right now versus the best in the AFC. At the end of the day, no disrespect to the Indianapolis Colts. At the end of the day,
they're going to have a walk in the park this week.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you put Jon Moxley against Samoa Joe without a story or a build. I'm glad they're two of the best in the world right now, if you want to call them that, but I need something to make me want to invest, So I think AEW's done a very good job of making people invest right now. I really do. They're telling stories within stories. Hook stuff goes back to when he was behind the New York City skyline with the fire in front of him, and he said, my body wasn't even cold. They are really telling slow burn stories. So we'll see what happens.
So you said something, and I'm sorry, Juice, because I know you want to get into your thoughts, but
no, you're good.
So you think Hook may cost Joe?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, everyone's so quick to be like, it's funny to me. I watched a lot of podcasters the day talk about a couple wrestlers. Julia Hart, she hasn't progressed. Hook hasn't progressed in the ring. And I'm like, who the fuck are you guys?
To say Julia Hart hasn't progressed is crazy.
It's crazy. Like, these are the most.
She's progressed so far that she has her own group of people underneath her. Like, she's brought Sky Blue along, and now
they also do this in WWE. They did it with Dominic Mysterio. They did it with some other characters, and it's like, I said it already. Who the hell are you guys? The most unathletic people in the world to sit back and tell somebody or look at somebody and be like, they're not progressive. And I've heard the excuse, I know a good movie and a bad movie when I see one, but you couldn't direct it. So shut up. Seriously. Right. And it's crazy from somebody who played at a high level. I'm not sitting here saying that these guys and girls are the best to ever do it, but stop telling them and projecting to your audience that they haven't progressed in the ring. How the hell would you know?
That's punching down to your audience and making your audience dumber by listening to you, which is crazy. Don't you want to educate your audience to say, hey, this is actually good. Look at them progressing, because you can see it. It seems like it comes off as.
It's not about educating the audience. Juice. It's not about it.
But Juice and Jordan, like, none of us are equipped, or are we in the right type of avenue to tell a professional wrestler when to duck instead of dodge, when to take a tackle instead of get out of here. Get out of here. None of us have wrestled at a high level or any at all. Like, give me a break. You want to talk football? I can tell you formations. I can tell you schemes. I can help you run a defense. But if you're going to sit back and try and tell me that this wrestler should have kicked out and we should have given the audience more when you haven't stepped foot in the ring, I'm sorry, you lose me. You lose me immediately.
They think it's enough that the microphone is in front of them. They think that's enough.
Right.
Well, because you said something, Juice. It's they don't want to educate. It's not about, here at No Dirt. We're here. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have good conversations and here to do our best to educate. And the
other thing, Jordan, too, is to talk about educating, right? I see a lot of people sitting back being like, Hook should go take indie bookings. Julia Hart should take indie bookings. All these other people should take indie bookings. Have you lost your mind? So Tony Khan is going to pay these people all this money so they can go wrestle in another ring and potentially get hurt. Why? Because you think they need work? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that
The
it makes
disrespect of that too.
it makes and that brings up something I've always wondered, and I was going to bring up on my show once, and so I'll bring it up to you guys just really quickly off the cuff.
That was good. That was good.
A+ reference.
Funny. Shout out to Grumpy. Do you guys ever think that AEW would benefit from a performance center, a training center of any kind?
I mean, I think first of all, I think
Sure.
they technically have one. I mean, you could go to numerous QT Marshall's place. They could go and get work.
QT
I mean,
Marshall.
You got to understand too, there's dark matches before this stuff. So you could go work a dark match, not on television, even if you're a big name, if you want, quote unquote, if you believe you need more work or you're coming back from an injury. Like it's crazy to me to just think that you got to get better by taking indie bookings. This is the second biggest. This is the second biggest promotion in North America. What are you talking about? You're getting paid a lot of money and you're, let's go take indie bookings. Hey, let me go kill myself on the indies. I'm already here. It's either here or WWE. Like, what are we talking about?
Very few and also very skilled are able to take the indie bookings. Like, that's why you'll see Swerve will take an indie booking, but it'll be Defy, where he was, all the time.
Because he knows that it's safe.
Yeah, Mercedes is going and she goes to Hog, and she frequents the same ones, but you don't see a lot of these guys taking the indie bookings like you think they do. Yes, they do take these indie bookings, but if you look at them, they've been wrestling a lot longer, so they're a lot more safe, they're a lot more comfortable, a lot more known. Sure. So what does a Hog date for Hook do?
I was gonna say before Mercedes is wrestling all over the place. What does she have to do? Well, because she's 12 belts Monet and she wants to collect more.
She shows up. She works her ass off for 5 to 7 minutes, or maybe it's a little bit longer, and she gets a belt. I mean, that's what this is. And those indies are gonna take the booking all the time for Monet because it's visibility, huge visibility for them because their championships are on television. It's like if I played for the Jets and they put me to their practice squad.
They could use you, Drew. They could use you.
They put me on their practice squad, and I'm like, hey, you want to know what? I enjoy being here at the NFL. Let me go play some arena ball, some CFL. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Crazy. What else we got, Juice?
Jordan brought it up because we talked about it a little bit before you hopped in, because you were changing your shirt for I don't know what reason, because your Jet shirt's no better than what you.
Well, the black shirt makes a lot of glare coming off the stone of mine.
All glare, no hair. Andrew Badell.
Bang.
T-shirt. Now that we know for sure, which, by the way, the Orange Cassidy line delivery of blood and guts.
Brilliant.
With that, exactly. Again, little stuff goes a long way. With that being finally announced, why are we not getting more announcements or more knowledge on the women's supposed blood and guts match? 2 weeks away. This is when this is supposedly happening, if it's still happening. So, Drew, I mean, do you have an idea of that? Are they going to announce stuff next week? What's going to happen with that? Because having 2 blood and guts matches on the main show there in a couple of weeks, it was the draw, and the women's blood and guts match specifically because we haven't seen one of those before. So, what's happening?
I think you saw somebody interfere in the Jamie Hayter Sisters of Sin match, which I believe will lead to those women being on opposite sides of a blood and guts. I do believe that's where we're headed. I do agree with you. I think it's interesting that the women's participants have not been confirmed or fully announced, because for me, with all due respect to the men, I think the focal point of blood and guts this year will probably be focused, which focal point is on the women, because it's the first ever women's blood and guts. So with that being said, this year's blood and guts, I'm interested to see how the women perform. Am I losing? Am I so excited for blood and guts? We'll have to wait and see how we get there. But I think it's a little strange that the women participants have not been fully announced, and maybe that's because of some injuries AEW is dealing with, or I don't know.
I think the teams have been announced. I think we're just waiting have been formed. Let me just say that the teams have been formed. I think we know. You're on mute.
No, I said absolutely. There's just no official announcement yet.
Yeah. So that being said, I think that we will get that announcement Saturday. I think Saturday, since the lines have been drawn, especially with the Sisters of Sin win, because I do think that, there's obviously going to be some people playing, doing double duty in the tournament and then also in this match. But I also think that the injury to Penelope probably has thrown a wrench into the system a little bit. Obviously, Marina and Megan were not originally together, but I will say that interaction where Mox is coming in saying, "These two, watch out." Fantastic, great touch, because it's true. If you look at those two women, their stature, you would be afraid, like, oh, them as a team, watch out.
Who do they face? Who do they face in the first round?
I don't know. I don't have the bracket. Hold on, let me
because it's interesting, right? You spend the time, like you said, giving kind of that, I don't want to call it a rub, but you gave the equity of the television time to that. And now you have a bracket where I believe it is it's going to be against TJ. I'm looking at the bracket right now. So it looks to me like, Bane and Marina Shafir are going to win that match. And I would love to see that match happen with Tony and Mina to get to the finals.
The opposite, honestly. I think that's how Megan Bane and Penelope Ford would have been in the that's their stake in the blood and guts match, because I think the heels will be going over in the first women's blood and guts match. So therefore, in this tournament, I think because if you ask me, I think, and this is just personally, I think Tony should reward TJ with this titles, because one, they're the only.
You want them to win the tag team championships?
They're the only women's team that's been there since day one. Do you remember the very first women's tag tournament they had? The only legit team that is still around is TJ.
Okay. All right.
I want to say they made it to the finals and everything as a team. And I think it would be a nice storytelling, and then reward these women, because if you want to talk about any two women who's gotten better, it's been these two. Anna Jay with her excursion to Japan, Tay Mello, her just natural progression, just getting better and better and more comfortable in the ring. So personally, I think I think they should make it to the finals or the semis and then lose to Timeless Love Bombs. I think, and so therefore you have Megan and Ford, which is now Megan and Marina. They have more of a reason to go into this blood and guts match.
First of all, Jordan, how dare you say that anybody progressed in ring, because that's not allowed.
Yeah, right. How dare I say someone who spends hours and hours and hours doing the same thing get better? How dare I?
Second of all, yeah, I think Timeless Love Bombs, it's going to be tough to move past them. I still think even with Penelope Ford out, it's going to be real tough for TJ to get past Megan Bane and Marina Shafir. Those are two women that would beat up all three of us if it was a 3-on-2. So
yeah.
But to the tournament by itself, I mean, I like that the Sisters of Sin won. I didn't think they were going to, but that's who I would have chose to advance further, because Sky Blue and Julia Hart, two different sides of the same coin. I really like both of what they've done. And I mean, Drew said he's high on Julia Hart. I've been high on her and Sky Blue. The entrances, the presentation, everything that they do is top notch, and it's unique. And that's all I can ask for, because as Jordan said, nothing is, original anymore. So in that no originality, you have to find some. And AEW has.
It's funny you talk about them and uniqueness. This is a small little thing that I love about both of them. Their gear. If you notice, a lot of the women's gear looks a lot the same. That Joshi look, if you know what I'm talking about. So even then, their uniqueness and just being different, and I love them as a team. I would love to see them progress as well. But I think they'll be in the blood and guts match, though.
It's pretty crazy considering Julia Hart was just the figurehead manager for the House of Black, and now she's doing her own thing. And it's so wild that whenever she's a
cheerleader.
Right. And whenever they first disbanded the House of Black, it was like, oh man, like, how's she going to do anything? But Brody King, to his credit and to Julia Hart's credit, and Alistair going back to WWE and doing his own thing. Like everybody's kind of done their own thing and done it very well. So it's nice.
Those
to
two
see that they're
stood
all
out.
progressing.
I mean, when you put that group together, obviously Alistair was and Malachi
he was already established.
Was your leader, and you had Buddy Matthews. But I mean, when I watched that group and when I saw what they were doing, I was like, Brody King's a dog, and Julia Hart is somebody you need to pay attention to. And they're both holding their own. So that's what you want on their own. So we'll see.
Yeah. So anything else from Dynamite that you'd like to touch on? I mean, it's not announced yet, but Takeshita Okada seems to be.
Well, we'll see. I think that's a big money match, especially if they put both championships on the line, or maybe they just put the New Japan championship on the line. I don't know. But again, I think that match could and should happen in Newark. I think it's a really big match. A lot of people are like, Okada doesn't want to work New Japan. How the hell do you guys know this? How do we know? Number one. And what if it's a one-off? What if he beats what if Takeshita beats him in Newark or vice versa, and then they have a rematch at Wrestle Dynasty, and whoever wins wins. I mean, Okada doing a one-off in Japan is not like out of the realm of possibility.
People forget where he came from.
I know, it's always funny. Oh, I don't think he wants to work Japan. Did you talk to him?
First off, they would love him back.
Even shit.
They would take anybody that they lost for a one-off.
Right? And
they're hurting for stars right now, right?
There's a perfect, beautiful, so if anybody knows about Japanese culture, they love Westerns, right? And this is a great spaghetti Western story where you have the old guy who's done it all and the new young guy who also has done it all, right?
When is Tanahashi's retirement match, by the way? Was that announced yet?
I think that's Wrestle Kingdom. I want to say Wrestle Kingdom.
Is it?
I think so.
So then, I mean, the opportunity for Okada Takeshita Tanahashi is probably through the roof.
So that, because grand scheme, that's what I'm thinking. Excuse me. I think that they play this feud all the way out till January on Wrestle Kingdom. Because not only would it put eyes on your product for Wrestle Kingdom, but it's going to make that Wrestle Kingdom for the past couple of years ain't felt like Wrestle Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
This will make it feel like Okada Takeshita for the New Japan title on Tanahashi's retirement match too.
Yeah, like Wrestle Kingdom 20, the January 4th show. That's when Tanahashi is
January 4th. Okay, so that's the Saturday or the Sunday?
It says January 4th and not the 5th. Could have been either day. January 4th is a Sunday.
Well, it makes sense. So
that's day one. They're doing 2 nights, right?
That's night
two.
It'd
be night 2 then if they're doing a Saturday, Sunday.
Well, Wrestle Kingdom's always been 2 nights. Last year it was Wrestle Kingdom and then it was Wrestle Dynasty, right?
Wrestle Dynasty, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, I know everyone wants Shinsuke, and I think that I'm sure they're having dialogue. I just don't know if that's possible. I really don't. So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I've always been upfront and honest, and I don't do the dirt. But I can tell you that I'm sure Shinsuke Nakamura has asked to have Tanahashi's last match. If it happens, it happens. I don't know the dynamic in that right now. I really don't.
I actually think it is possible. I think
anything's possible.
I think the respect in the World Wrestling Federation. I think there's a lot there with Shinsuke, and I mean him doing the final Muta match, which they've both immortalized those gears in Mattel figures. So I mean, a guy that wasn't even in WWE got that as when he became a legend for the Legends deal. They got him to do a New Japan gear.
He got in the Hall of Fame, didn't he?
Right. So all those things happened. And he wasn't really a part of WWE and never actually was. So I think
there's 2 choices, Juice, right?
At this point, I think it's very possible. Yeah.
There's 2 choices. It's got to be Nakamura. It's got to be Okada, right?
But here's the thing, though. Because I think if they let Nakamura on, New Japan respectfully would be working with both sides.
You don't say.
Yeah. Drew's been kind of
I think that's going to happen.
They might be leaning that way anyway.
I don't know. I know Tony and Rocky Romero have a great relationship. I know that New Japan and AEW have a new relationship, but I constantly see this smoke and I constantly hear this. I have people who text and they're like, New Japan and WWE are going to be working together sooner rather than later. And I'm like, all right. I mean, okay. I mean, I just, but I don't know. It seems like the AEW New Japan relationship is very solid. But if you look at it for a long time, it seems as if AEW has benefited the most from this. So now maybe you give Okada and they're giving them Takeshita back. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I would hate
because I could see AEW respecting the world of wrestling so much to where it doesn't really matter for them, but I think it would matter for WWE. They don't want any of their talent on the same card as I wouldn't think so.
Well, what's interesting to that though, Jordan, it's a great point. If they did Wrestle Dynasty on Saturday and they had Wrestle Kingdom on Sunday, if they worked out something where Nakamura showed up and took on Tanahashi, but there could be no AEW wrestlers on Wrestle Dynasty. I don't know the dynamic there. I really don't.
I could, but either way, they're not going to want that. You're right. They're not going to want them on the same cards together. So it'll be interesting. Uh-oh. My connection is timing out.
That's all right. You're still here with us. We just can't.
It'll be very interesting for sure. No, I'm kind of pushed back. I really kind of feel that like I know Triple H is not like he's so different than Vince, but at this stage, it's not. It's the Japanese like respect that I think for that type of wrestling that
100%
could allow a Nakamura to work a show, even if there's AEW talent on there. He's not working against an AEW talent. Like it's a different thing. And I think
I would agree, Juice. I think that out of respect, I think if Nakamura came over, I'm not even quite sure Tony Khan would have a problem with it. I really don't.
Oh, I don't think so either. He'd want to see the match.
Yeah, and I think if Tanahashi asked for Nakamura and he got it, I don't think Tony would stand in the way of it. I really don't.
Yeah, I think that's like the only way these two companies can like find common ground is the international piece of it, because there is a deep respect there, and both companies have worked with them in the past and potentially in the future. So it behooves them to do something like that and allow hey, we can do this. We're not doing. They're not. Again, it's not an AEW contracted wrestler that Nakamura would be facing. That's a whole nother ball game. So we'll see. But Jordan might not see it if his connection still can't.
What else you got, buddy boy?
So before we went into WWE, you brought up Rocky Romero, and I do want to say that he's a part of the up to this point 4-match Full Gear card, and we talked about pretty much all of it thus far. And there's still what is it? The 20 to 22nd, I believe, is when the show takes place. 4 matches thus far. And they didn't say that the Big Boom AJ match is on the pre-show or not, but I would wager it will be. And he will be taking on, along with QT Marshall, Roppongi Vice, which is Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta. So I thought that was a nice transition to move into that. Chris Statlander, of course, Monet, world title on the line for the women. Hangman and Joe again, at least for now. There could be maybe a triple threat, who knows? And then Brodito and FTR for the world tag titles. So that's shaping up already. So
yeah, and I thought last night did its job. We're weeks away from the pay-per-view, and they've done a good job of giving you 3 marquee matches. I thought Brodito killed it at World or at Wrestle Dream, and now you're getting a Full Gear match with FTR, which is going to be great. And again, Stat and Monet going to be a good one. Hanger and Joe going to be a good one. I think a stipulations added. It's very interesting. I think they did their job last night. Yeah,
sorry.
They did their job. They did their job last night. They really did. They progressed things, and they built towards 3 pay-per-view matches.
Yeah, and like you said, either a stipulation or another person added, or both. Sure. I think that, and again, I've been saying this the whole show, like a little thing goes a long way. You have the same match again, okay, but add something here, add something there, and it's completely different from the month prior. So, like, why not do it? And
all right, what else you got? We're gonna wait for Jordan here.
Add some juice to that.
Add some flavor.
Yeah, well, Jersey Mike's, you add the juice if you want it Mike's way.
Oh, got it.
What are you unfamiliar?
I've had Jersey Mike's a couple times. I think their cheesesteaks are where it's at, right?
I had a cheesesteak last week. Yeah.
I mean,
normally I get the chicken cheesesteak, but I got the actual steak cheesesteak.
This is not a paid promotion, but
No.
I fly into Philly a lot. My brother lives in Jersey, so Philly is the closest airport. And I will tell you that Angelo's, best cheesesteak, best pizza, in my opinion, in Philly. South Philly, too.
There was a place I didn't get to go because I like the in and out of
Jordan!
Sorry, laptop just died on me.
You're good.
Like just froze, died.
I
But we're good.
didn't get to go to this place when I was there for Dynasty, but the next time I go to Philly, I'd love to try it. It's called Shays Steaks, and they have, I mean, they do everything with the best cuts of meat. Like they were doing filet mignon, like steak quesadillas, or like cheese steaks, but with the highest cut. Like, so that's somewhere.
Oh, we're talking fancy foods?
No, we were just talking about Philly and cheesesteaks.
Just Philly and cheesesteaks, not necessarily.
Angelo's is my spot. If you want to hook me up with some free food when I come through in a couple weeks, by all means. I love Angelo's. Cash only though. Lines only out the door. Yeah, but it's a fantastic place for a cheesesteak and a pizza.
I'm always down for a good Philly cheesesteak.
Yes, sir.
All right, to move away from the AEW business, let's talk a little WWE. And before we conclude with our Saturday night's main event predictions and preview, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the controversial promo video that was aired after
the WrestleMania thing that everyone
days
thought
days and days of speculation of what it could be. I fell somewhat victim to it only because I wanted it to be something other than a promo for a show that a lot of people, if you're going, you're already going. I highly doubt that when you watch this actual promo, I'm going. I'm throwing all my money at WrestleMania 42 because I saw these guys playing poker.
Sure. I mean, you got to remember they were asked to do this type of video by their partners. So ESPN, Ticketmaster, whomever, Allegiant Stadium. And listen, I mean, the first video, I thought to myself, okay, could it be Jericho? But I was like, look, no, like and then they started doing different shoes. And I was just like, okay. And I had heard that they were shooting stuff for Mania and they were shooting stuff for War Games. And I was like, all right, then I thought to myself, you know what, this could possibly be a 2K reveal, but I was just like, I don't know. Maybe
they did that with
Goldberg.
I know it's like we're really teasing that of all the things you're going to tease that hard.
But I just thought it was interesting how the fans immediately went to, this is Jericho. That's good there. This is the new vision. I was like,
the fans want to eat, Drew. They want juicy stuff, and just giving them a promo for a show that a lot of people already made their decision on, I think is, disappointing to a lot of those fans. That being said, there was seemingly another stack of chips unoccupied with a seat empty, maybe. So do you think that in this confusion confusion or delusion of this promo video, do you think WWE went out of their way to give a little Easter egg on someone else that could be showing up, dare I say, at the head of the table?
Maybe.
Is this the time? Are we ever getting him again?
No. The Rock is not going to work this year's WrestleMania. No. I truly believe that if The Rock is going to work any WrestleMania, it's Saudi Arabia. We'll have to wait and see on that type of stuff. But again, don't work yourselves into a shoot, brother. And that, I just use that quote because
I love to.
Because people get so, and it's good. Let your imagination run free. I get that, and run wild. But at the end of the day, you know what this did? Truthfully, with all the speculation, all it did was help a potential couple of free agents or possible people coming back from injuries. Hype just continue to grow, and it really did help Chris Jericho's stock if he needed any more dollars on the table in terms of an offer from either company. It just rose.
And those videos did huge numbers, viral numbers, like well over 1 million each one. And then after like the second or third one, when people started getting the idea, maybe this isn't one of those guys, you could see that the comments outnumbered the reposts because people were more pissed that it wasn't anything that they thought. Right. So you could see it as time goes on.
And it's like when Cena lost the Rumble, they were like, how the hell did they go with Jey Uso? And it's like, just because it wasn't what you predicted doesn't mean it's bad. Sometimes
I predicted that. I predicted it in May of last year.
You did. It was on our show. I truly believe that sometimes predictable is great. You could do it so many different ways. You really can. So
it's not, it's not.
I think we've lost Jordan for the day, I believe. We're gonna wrap things up here soon anyway. If Jordan jumps back in here, he jumps back in here. I thought the WrestleMania thing was crazy, absolutely crazy. And it is what it is. So.
Yeah. But hopefully there's I know why they did it, and I know that if their partners wanted it, it's just, to me, it's tough to sell any. Like, do you think that sells it to anybody that was on the fence? No, probably not.
I mean, unless I could play poker with these gentlemen and try and win some real money so I could pay for these ridiculous WrestleMania
That'll
tickets.
be the on location. You get to play a poker
it's for
game
real
with
money.
all 4 of those guys. And if you win, you get your tickets for free.
Listen, if it's a $36,000 buy-in, I'm in. But we got to be playing for real money. Okay? And if I win, I get the money, obviously, that I've won from these gentlemen, and I get my front row tickets to WrestleMania for both nights. Sign me up. I will play my cards. But if this is just a promo video to spend money, no, I'm not buying.
I'm not buying it.
Not buying. Yeah. But if we could play some cards, I could play cards with those gentlemen, and their money is real money, I'm here.
I don't know. You piss them off, they might put you through the table.
As long as their money's green, you can put me through whatever table you want. As long as that money keeps...
Unless Chauncey Billups is at the head of that table.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. This show's over. Go ahead.
Come on. That's topical. This is what we do. It's
Jordan is not locked up. Jordan is just not here. Oh, there he is.
His internet connection failed him. Oh,
yeah, there he is. People thought we kicked you, Jordan. I was like, that is not what happened.
No.
Drew did. I didn't.
For whatever reason, whenever I move my mouse, everything would just stop. So I cannot move my mouse, but I'm good. I'm good now.
You're still a little laggy, but we can see and hear you, so we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Drew, you're sometimes laggy. I think both,
I know.
You can use a little bit better connection. I'm HD 4K, baby.
I mean, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm getting the extra long Ethernet, so don't worry. I'm about to.
We've all been there. The Ethernet cord is tough. But
I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere, so I had to up my internet because literally I'm surrounded by trees and greenery. So that's it.
I think that's my issue too, because I literally live next to a wooded area. There's a giant wooded forest like near my backyard. So that may be the issue.
Yeah. All right, Drew, Saturday night's main event. Let's end here.
Let's cook with it. I don't know. Will we get another match here within the next day and a half? They've been known to throw 4 as of now. They've been known to throw one in on Friday Night SmackDown and go, another match. So these predictions kind of go away because there's a match you're not even going to know about. But let's say they won't. Maybe they add a promo segment or whatever. 4 matches for Saturday night's main event. Go ahead.
Hold on. No commercial interruptions. This is exclusively on Peacock. So they don't, they'll run ads. Don't get me wrong if you have that tier, but they're not going to be, hey, we got a hard out here and there. They're able to do their thing exclusively on Peacock.
So with that being said, 4 matches on the docket, all for championships, which is a pretty unique considering I think the last few have had at least one match, not for a title, if not multiple. So, retirement matches, what have you. But 4 matches in Utah. This is going to be a fun show. This is the last one before we get the big one in December. So let's go through the card. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Rusev. Triple threat IC title. Man, it seems like a toss-up because, it's a triple threat. Because it's a triple threat and the champion doesn't have to get pinned to lose the title. But I think that Dominic Mysterio has a date with one John Cena. So I don't see him losing this championship. What say you? Either. Go ahead, Jordan.
Rusev is taking the hook job here, so I think Rusev was inserted in this to lose because Penta, you don't want to make Penta look too weak by having him take a loss. Obviously, Dom's not giving up the title. Let's throw in the number 2 contender in Rusev. I think Dom, is winning this. I think he does have a date with John Cena.
True.
But I mean, Dom Mysterio. We didn't need this much time. Dom Mysterio.
All right, let's move on. Women's title on the line. WWE Women's title. Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton. Jade now with a little bit of an edge to her. Does she take the title from Tiffany Stratton? I still say no.
I would love to see it, but I'm going to say no.
I personally hate this heel turn from Jade. It doesn't make sense. It's not motivated to me. It's not motivating enough to me. So I think because of that, I don't even think they believe in her heel turn. I got Tiffany winning. You know, does Tiffany win clean? No, I think there's a small kind of face. You know, win. You know, a dusty finish. There it is. You know, I do think there's
Who
going to
would
be a
say
dusty finish.
if? Who's going to go into a feud with Jade?
Bianca.
Okay.
You know, how dare you? Who are you? You know, how could you? This ain't you. You know what I'm saying? And Bianca and Jade finally have that feud that people have been saying they should have.
There you go.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Bianca's been gone for far too long, so I'd like to see her get back into the fold. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, undisputed WWE Championship. I feel like we've seen this match 1,000 times already, even though it hasn't been that many times. Is it fait accompli? Is it over? Is Cody actually going to lose? I don't think so. I think Cody retains this and continues forth. I don't know where he ends up losing it, potentially at WrestleMania. So I don't think it's happening.
But then who does even then?
Yeah,
from now until Mania, Drew again, Punk maybe. Like that's the problem with this title reign from Cody is that he's faced a lot of the top guys already, and so
I think
there's no excitement.
The big thing here with Drew McIntyre that a lot of people aren't talking about is he's going to be shooting that Highlander movie, and I don't think he's going to be available for like Rumble, Chamber, and Mania. Maybe he comes back at Mania as a surprise. So Drew winning the championship, while it could create a lot of shock, sure, but he'd have to drop it very quickly, and I just don't see them doing that to Cody. I really don't. They could.
It's a movie. I thought they're making a remake of the show.
Whatever the show is, I'm sorry, television show, whatever it is. It's Highlander. So
yeah. I just thought
there can be only one.
A movie would be cool, but
yeah. So I mean, he's gonna be out for a little bit. That he being Drew McIntyre. So could they? The shock value, it could happen, but you got to remember we're crowning a new world heavyweight champion on Saturday as well. So I don't think this is the time to do it. And Drew's going away for a little bit. He's going to miss the Rumble. I think once Drew comes back, I think all bets are off. I think he's a marked man to win the WWE championship. Just like I think LA Knight is headed to maybe a world heavyweight championship title run because they always do things with a purpose and they're listening and they could see the outrage online sometimes or whatever else. And they might not immediately give you what you want, but I think they're trying to bump down LA Knight to bring him up. And I think he'll win the world heavyweight championship eventually. Maybe at WrestleMania. Who knows? I don't know.
But that's like some of the fans are starting to not like that. Like WWE saying, no, we're going to put him over when we want him over.
Well, they did it with Cody too, Jordan. I mean, everyone was like 39 got to happen. And then 40 happened and people were still like, I don't know if it's going to happen. And the place went nuts. So I think right now, if you waited another year, Jordan, yeah, I'd sit back and be like, what a mistake. But if they pull the trigger in the next 6 months, LA Knight is still going to be very popular. His music hits and my kid's head snaps. Like it's just, everything's there. So I do hear what you're saying though. I do hear you.
And he's a nice guy. I ran into him not too long ago. So he's a nice guy. Yeah.
And to that point, where you're like, well, some fans are upset that WWE wants to do it when they want to. Well, last time I checked, it's their television program, right. So I do believe they're going to be doing it on their schedule.
Jordan and Juice, let me flip this on you. Are you boys both done with the LA Knight character, or in 6
Hell
no.
months?
Okay, there's one.
He'll as soon as he wins, he'll be back to a level of like we haven't seen him as champion yet.
It's not that I'm done. It's just. I'm ready. It feels like ever since he got
it's been
to
a tease.
Ever since he got to the main roster, quote unquote, or WWE.
The last time you guys dated, that's all dating is. I haven't dated in 15, 20 years, but I mean.
But it feels like we've just been waiting on, okay, LA Knight's a ready-made guy. He's one of the very few people who signed to WWE as a ready-made guy.
Sure.
And so it just feels like we've been waiting. And so I'm not over it. I'm just like, okay, is this it? Let this
right.
be
But
it.
see, I think that plays into the frustration of his character. Jey Uso's getting a shot. CM Punk's getting a shot. Seth Rollins is always champion. When the hell am I going to be champion? That's what's going to make it so much better when he actually wins it, because he's just as pissed off as his fans are.
And what a
I think
great
it works.
feud. What a great feud for LA Knight to elevate his game. And I think it was Bully Ray who said it, and I agree. Chris Jericho comes in, boom, him and LA Knight, money.
Without a title. Don't even have to have a title.
Money.
And then, it elevates him to another level.
Yeah.
Yep. Who goes over?
LA Knight.
LA Knight. I think Jericho would see that.
Yeah. You think Jericho's coming in and he's just going to be like, yo, I want the world championship? He is going to be just like CM Punk. He's going to be a church mouse. Whatever you guys need, whatever you guys want.
He wants the good retirement tour. He wants everybody to love him.
And he wants them $1 baby. He wants them $1.
It will be money. The promo battles between those two will be money.
100%. And what an elevation that would be when you even could share a ring with Jericho and
the endorsement
talk.
For that is enough.
Yeah. Again, look at the lineup that they could potentially have in line for next championships. Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I mean, right now there's a big logjam, and this happened in the late 90s, early 2000s as well. And then they all started to get to their top and they got to have their run. And some worked, some didn't. But I mean, WWE has a lot of people in the pipeline right now in terms of ready-made stars who are just needing to take that next step, that after the Codys, the CM Punks, the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar's of the world step aside, these guys are ready.
Yeah.
There's not too many of them, so they got to start building them now. They need to start really building them now.
And then the World Heavyweight Championship, Juice. Why don't you tell me who you think's going to win? Because I'm going with Jey Uso, 100%.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Jey Uso as well. I think there's some sort of Jimmy Uso involvement, not necessarily a heel turn, but I think, as we discussed, Jey Uso is going to become in his head the new tribal chief by winning the championship, which will make fans who will always love him be hesitant to cheer him if he's doing these kind of sly tactics to win championships, because they also love CM Punk and they don't want to see him go down in a fiery blaze.
I think the story here, truthfully, is I think Jimmy helping Jay win the championship here in terms of like just a little bit of help, because Jay has kind of shown that he's willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Jimmy will show his loyalty, and then Jay's going to flip and become this evil, head bigger than the cowboy hat could fit on type of tribal chief. And I think that's where we're going to end up. And Roman's going to check him back into place. And again, I think it works. It really does work. Would I like to see a CM Punk run? You bet your ass. I don't care how old the man is. He's still a big draw. And to see him at the top would be great. But I'm going to sit back and say that Jey Uso is going to be the guy. And it'll be interesting. I'm going to watch through my kids' eyes. When Jay wins the championship, I'm going to see how he reacts. And then once this character develops and takes its turn, if they do decide to do that, I want to see how my oldest reacts, because he's a big, big Jey Uso guy.
I personally think this is the time to crown Punk. I think we've been waiting for it. I think this is the go-ahead time to do it. Let him finish the year out as champion.
Okay, they crown him, Jordan. Where do you go from here after that? Because I don't hate the idea. What do you do with Punk in December, January, February, March, and April?
So I would position Punk. I would do a Punk Damian Priest. I would do you could do Punk LA Knight. I think though, just him with the title, he's been back long enough. He's been close many times.
He already won for 5 minutes.
And on the flip side of that, Jordan, what do you do with Jey Uso? He loses. What happens?
Yeah, I think there's more there.
I think they try one more time, brother versus brother. That first match was a stinker. That first match sucked.
There was a lot of hype there. I think a lot of people were very much invested into that match.
So
they had a great moment in the main event that was in like 2 minutes worth, and that was better than their whole match.
So I think that they try it again, because WWE is known to do that, to try stuff again. So I think they try one more time. I think that's where they go. I think Punk goes off to maybe a Damian Priest, maybe LA Knight, maybe even a Braun. They somehow jump ship to challenge or whatever. But I also see Jay and Jimmy going against each other. I think try it one more time, and I think maybe it's not so defined, like they have this match and then finally come back together, because ultimately that's what everybody's wanting, the Usos back together.
Here's what I think happens, and this is just my fantasy booking, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I think Jay wins. I think Roman wins the Rumble. I think Punk wins the Chamber and goes immediately after Cody, and there's your two main events for WrestleMania in Las Vegas. I just think that there's a lot you could do. Gunther and Lesnar. I mean, I can name some big names that'll be a part of the show that don't need to be attached to a championship. Jericho and LA Knight. Again, I've named a couple big matches that could really just fill the card out. And it's not like, well, what is this guy doing? What's that guy doing? So I think that's where they could head. If they don't, they don't. The Elimination Chamber has yet to be announced for a venue in Chicago, but I can tell you it's going to Chicago. All signs point to the United Center, but I've seen some stranger stuff happen in the wild world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment. So we'll have to wait and see. Jordan, I love you, but I'm not here for a brother versus brother match. I think it's tired and true.
I think that's just the only other place that you could go outside of a tag run between, or maybe
that would work. That works.
Maybe they realize, like, look, we're better together, So
I think Braun and Bronson on the other side of that, because a lot of people will be like, where are they in this mania? I think they should win the tag titles, have a little bit of a run as the tag champion, be super dominant. And then you can have Breaker win a Money in the Bank or something like that. Breaker doesn't need to be pushed to the moon right now. He's already basically there.
Yeah, it's just like the LA Knight thing. Let's hold off on him. Like, he's already kind of ready to go, but let's hold off.
He needs
machine gun.
another
Give me everything I want right now. I want everything. It just doesn't work.
He needs like another year of marinating, of just kind of getting more, because he still needs to separate a little bit from his family gimmick. Which the family gimmick is great. Don't get me wrong, it works. But you gotta step away just a little bit. Like, what makes Cody and Dustin so great is that they have just that little bit of degrees of separation from their father.
Sure.
Randy Orton, so many degrees away from his father. And so when you are a generation talent like that, especially ones as famous as the Steiners, it doesn't help that you wear the white boots. It doesn't help that you do the barking, So I think he needs to break away a little bit from the family gimmick, and then
break away.
Break away from the family gimmick a little bit, and then all right, put the title on him. So now, like you said, let's give him a Money in the Bank. Let's give him tagged run with Bronson. Have that. But world title, he doesn't need it right now.
I can tell you right now that the bloodline is going to be a focal point all the way through Mania season. So strap up, whether it's for a title or not, strap up and strap in, because that's the ride you're going on. The vision, I'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Juice, Jordan, anything else?
I saw someone put a comment in there. Do you think there's a chance that we see Brock Lesnar interfere in that World Heavyweight Championship match to maybe cost CM Punk and that, lead that War Games thought?
No.
Okay.
So
when do we see Lesnar then, Drew? Sorry, Jordan. When do we see Lesnar next then?
That leads into what I was going to say. That actually leads into what I was going to say, which is, does Brock being on the poster and the promotion, he's guaranteed for Mania? And have
you lost your mind? Of course.
Card subject to change, but yeah, you could surmise that. I mean,
unless for some reason, unless for some reason, first of all, Brock Lesnar wouldn't be on television if he wasn't free and clear from what's going on or wasn't going to be named. But if for some reason things change, they'll pull him faster than a. I'll leave that
because
one
to put him on,
they'll put Rhea on the poster like they wanted to.
Oh God, here we go.
Because to put him on the Mania promotional material, means that I think they have big plans for him come May.
Yeah, it's a good. First of all, Brock, listen.
Don't worry, he's winning the Rumble, like Jordan said.
Here we go. Okay. Whether or not Brock Lesnar is this big draw in terms of the IWC doesn't fucking matter. Okay. And I understand. I get it. Is Brock Lesnar my favorite wrestler? No, I understand. But who gives a shit about what the bald guy in Minnesota thinks about Brock Lesnar? Because truthfully, across multiple media platforms and a crossover appeal, everybody knows who Brock Lesnar is. Everybody. Okay. So does Rhea Ripley deserve to be on this poster? Does some other professional wrestlers deserve to be on this poster? Sure. But I don't make those calls. And they're looking for crossover generational talents. So that's what this is. I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. And yes, Lesnar will be a part of WrestleMania unless something crazy happens. Jordan, I'm sorry, but I know the people's outrage, but
I get it, but when he wins, when he comes in at number 31.
Oh, here we go.
When he comes in at number 31, because Paul Heyman pulled some strings or something like that, and he wins, I would not be surprised. Like,
I don't think Lesnar's winning the Rumble. But how does he get involved in War Games? That's a good question, Juice, because everyone thinks that Brock's going to be a part of War Games. How do we get him involved in that?
That's where I kind of led with that, is like, does he have to interfere? Does he just show up? Like, there has to be a catalyst for that to happen.
And Brock even want to be in one. Brock has been in like 2 Hell in a Cell matches. I don't think he likes that type of plunder and all that.
Yeah, but if he's back in the fold and is, he'll say yes. I think he would be willing to do it. Especially, I think a lot of people, like with Cena. Cena's never done it. He would have no reason to do it. But if he wants to knock that off his retirement list or what have you, you don't think Lesnar wants to, if Heyman said, hey, just this one time, why not? Like, it's not every year. It's just a one-off.
Yeah.
And then you have the moment of Lesnar in the War Games or a Cena in the War Games. And it makes it that much cooler than the Bloodline or Cody and whatever we've been doing the last 3 War Games matches. So
Dev says The Rock has the biggest opportunity to be number 31. Brock doing it would bum me out. I'm going to say this right now. I appreciate everyone's fantasy bookings, but The Rock is not going to be a part of anything January, February, March, or April, because he is shooting a Scorsese film. So listen, could he show up in Saudi to say, like, welcome to the Rumble, or could he do a quick spot in the Rumble? Possibly, but him getting real physical in anything over the next 6 to 8 months is at a 0% chance. And I would love to be wrong, truthfully. I just don't see it.
Truthfully, would love to be wrong. Well, you've been wrong before, and you'll be wrong again.
I've never been wrong. I've been mistaken.
Asterisk.
All right, boys. Jordan, where can everyone like, subscribe, and follow you at the Wrestle Collective? Then we'll get to Juice in his juice box.
You can find me on Twitter at slick_flair91. And you can also find me on the Wrestle Collective weekly podcast. We will be going on in about 2.5 hours, 5:30 Central. You can follow us at DubC Worldwide.
There you go. Juice.
At Juicy Steen on Twitter. Let's argue about Undertaker and Sting. Who did it better in their careers? I'm here all day, all night, whenever you need me, 24/7. Even
what does that mean?
Leap year. What?
Are people arguing about Sting and Taker?
You're not perpetually online like the rest of us.
Yeah. It's been a thing. It's been a thing. Yeah.
That's been a scuttlebutt. And I do think that at some point, myself and another fellow person in this space may do a full-length video on that. That's in the works, but not anything soon. But we're definitely going to tackle this issue just to, put it to bed objectively, of course.
Spoiler alert.
There's no WCW bias. I promise.
Spoiler alert, it's not going to be me. All right, I'm Andrew Baydala.
It's not going to be you.
I am at Andrew Baydala. Final Bell Media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow these 2 dorks. I'm only kidding. They're great guys. Doing that. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. Check out the Wrestle Collective. Check out the Juice Box. Again, hit that notification so when we go live, you will know. Right here on Final Bell Media, it is the only home for No Dirt, Just Dialogue, our official podcast. We appreciate you all. I'm getting word that we have something that I should touch on here. People have argued about Sting and Taker for years. Yeah. Well,
yeah. Years.
God bless
decades.
them. God bless them. God bless them. All right. I am at Andrew Radella. He is at Juicy Steen. And Jordan is at slick_Flair91. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Look at that. Look at that, boys, with your ridiculous handles. I love you both. I appreciate you all. Catch you guys next week.
Later, man.